Ivan Lester McGuire wasn't just any skydiver. With over 800 dives under his belt, the sky was his playground, a realm where he felt a freedom unchained by the mundane worries of life on the ground. His love for skydiving wasn't a mere hobby, it was an embodiment of his spirit, a testament to his daring ethos, and a chase for that fleeting, unadulterated rush of adrenaline. It was more than just a sport, it was a way of life, a breath of fresh, exhilarating air that fueled his adventurous soul. At the age of 35, McGuire was a seasoned skydiver, each dive etching more character into his free-spirited heart. However, skydiving was not just about the thrill for McGuire, it was a spectacle worth capturing, a moment of unbound freedom that deserved to be immortalized in film. And so, skydiving and filming became intertwined passions that showcased the essence of human endeavor to defy the natural order, to soar amidst the clouds, if only for a moment. On the ill-fated day of April 5, 1998, the sky was as inviting as ever, a vast expanse of endless blue, promising the usual dose of thrill and ecstasy. McGuire was at the Franklin County Sports Parachute Center, prepping for a session that aimed at capturing the beautiful dance between man and the sky. It was supposed to be a routine jump, one amongst the many he had done over the years. The excitement of capturing the dive, the anticipation of the free fall, and the camaraderie among fellow skydivers filled the air with an electric charge. Little did he know, this day would etch a dark, indelible mark in the annals of skydiving history. The sun cast a gentle glow on the Franklin County Sports Parachute Center, reflecting off the sleek surfaces of the planes and the vibrant hues of the parachutes being meticulously checked and packed. The sky beckoned with a promise of another exhilarating dive into the abyss of blue. Among the eager skydivers was Ivan, who was brimming with an unspoken excitement to capture the poetic plunge of a student and an instructor through his lens. The camera gear was checked and double-checked, ensuring every nut, bolt, and lens was ready to capture the dive in all its glory. It was a scene bubbling with anticipation, the hum of engines and the chatter of skydivers filling the air with a symphony of adventurous spirit. But amidst the flurry of preparations, a fatal oversight lurked, an oversight that would cost dearly. As Ivan busied himself with the camera settings, ensuring the angle and focus were just right, a crucial piece of equipment was forgotten: his parachute. Was it the routine nature of the jump, or the distraction of the filming task at hand that led to this critical miss? The answer remains shrouded in the tragic events that followed. The moment arrived, the plane ascended, cutting through the crisp morning air, reaching the designated altitude of 10,500 feet. The door swung open, revealing the vast open sky, a canvas awaiting the artistry of human flight. Ivan, with his camera rolling, captured the instructor and student as they leaped into the void, their figures becoming silhouettes against the backdrop of the expansive sky. It was now his turn, and without a second thought, he took the plunge. But as he jumped, there was no parachute strapped to his back, only the cold realization of a grave error as gravity took its merciless hold. As he plummeted, did the terrifying reality of the situation dawn upon him? Did the cold wind rushing past his face scream the harsh truth of the fatal forgetfulness? The camera kept rolling, indifferent to the dire circumstance, capturing each second of the harrowing descent. Each rotation as he tumbled through the air, each futile grasp for a parachute cord that wasn't there, was recorded in a haunting narrative of a life spiraling towards an untimely end. With every passing second, the ground rushed up to meet him, the inevitable reality closing in with a ruthless, unforgiving certainty. The surreal serenity of the sky juxtaposed against the grim fate awaiting below was a ghastly reminder of how a momentary lapse could lead to irrevocable doom. The impact was as brutal as the realization of the mortal mistake. The once vibrant scene of skydivers ready to embrace the sky turned somber as the news of the tragedy rippled through the crowd. The skies above Franklin County had witnessed a tale of passion intertwined with a harrowing twist of fate, a tale that would be recounted with a shiver and a heavy heart for years to come. The footage from Ivan's camera was recovered, serving as a grim reminder, a testimony to the harsh reality that a singular oversight can lead to. How many watched it with a clenched heart, the visceral imagery resonating through the core. The incident spurred discussions and reflections within and beyond the skydiving community. Regulations were scrutinized, safety checks emphasized with a renewed urgency, and the narrative of Ivan's tragic leap etched as a stark lesson in the annals of skydiving lore. Francis Daniel Brohm, known to his close circles as Frankie, was not just another face in the crowd. Born on November 3, 1981, in the heartland of Louisville, Kentucky, he had a predilection for machines from a tender age. His fingers, though young, itched to dismantle gadgets only to reassemble them back, each time with a slightly better understanding of the marvels of mechanics. This early fascination ripened into a lifelong passion, leading him to pursue a career as a mechanic. A move that saw him relocating to Marietta, Georgia, where he could chase this dream under the warm southern sun. Frankie was the guy you called when your car coughed out its last breath, the guy whose eyes lit up at the mere mention of carburetors and crankshafts. His love for cars was not just a profession, but an extension of his identity. But, as fate would have it, the night of August 29, 2004, saw him in the company of John Hutcherson, a 21-year-old friend with a penchant for the bottle. They decided to drive back home after what seemed like a casual night out. As they navigated through the dark, winding roads that lay ahead, the jovial chatter that filled the car slowly morphed into an uneasy silence. Frankie, with a pale face, clutched his stomach, feeling the bile rise up his throat. Car sickness was rearing its ugly head. He rolled down the window, desperate for a gulp of fresh air, oblivious to how this innocuous act would set the stage for a harrowing tale of horror that still haunts the lanes of Marietta. The night had wrapped Marietta in a somber veil, the silence only broken by the occasional hoot of an owl or the distant hum of vehicles. The streetlights cast long, eerie shadows on the road as John maneuvered the car through the bends and turns, the tranquility of the night in stark contrast to the storm brewing in Frankie's stomach. As the nausea surged like a tide, he hung his head out the window, the cool breeze offering a fleeting solace against the unsettling churn in his belly. Who could have thought such a mundane discomfort would cascade into a ghastly series of events? As the miles rolled by, John's senses, muddled by alcohol, grew duller. The line between the road and the verge began to blur. Meanwhile, Frankie, combating waves of nausea, continued to hang out of the window, the sharp, cool wind against his face offering a brief respite. Did he notice the car drifting off the tarmac? Did John realize the peril that lurked? The answers to these questions got swallowed by the dark abyss that followed. With a sudden, heart-stopping jolt, the car sideswiped a telephone pole support wire. In a split second that stretched long in the horror it entailed, the wire sliced through flesh and bone, decapitating Frankie in a grotesque, surreal display of fate's cruel irony. The one who had always found solace amidst cars and engines met a horrific end by the very vehicle he found joy in. John, however, in a state of drunken oblivion, continued to drive. The night had swallowed the grotesque reality, cloaking the horror in darkness. The car's engine hummed its monotonous tune, indifferent to the Grim Reaper's visit. John drove, the alcohol in his veins overshadowing the horrific reality that his friend, his companion for the night, now lay headless beside him. The drive to his home, a mere 12 miles away, seemed to stretch into an eerie, endless journey as he parked the truck in his driveway, staggered out, and found his way to bed, leaving behind a scene of macabre reality waiting to be discovered with the first rays of dawn. The neighborhood of Marietta would soon wake up to a horror story, the kind that sends shivers down the spine and haunts one's dreams for nights on end. But for now, as the night wrapped up the ghastly secret in its cold, indifferent embrace, John slept, unaware of the gruesome reality that awaited him. As the morning sun cast its first light, it uncovered the grim reality that unfolded in the cold veil of the previous night. The quaint neighborhood of Marietta was about to be shaken to its core. It was a neighbor, on a tranquil morning walk with his baby daughter, who first stumbled upon the eerie sight. The sight of Frankie's headless body seated in the truck, the horror of the scene stark against the serene morning, would forever be etched in his memory. Can you imagine the shock, the cold shiver running down the spine as reality dawned upon the unsuspecting neighbor? As the news of the grotesque discovery spread like wildfire, the tranquility of the town was replaced with whispers of horror and disbelief. The morning headlines screamed the chilling tale, painting a vivid picture of the bizarre and grim fate that befell Frankie. Soon, the authorities were at John's doorstep, who was now waking up to a reality harsher than the worst of nightmares. The charges were severe: vehicular homicide and driving under the influence, among others. His bail was set at a hefty $100,000, a figure that perhaps mirrored the gravity of the dark deeds of the previous night. Kurt Gödel, a name synonymous with revolutionary strides in logic and mathematics, wasn't just a towering figure in the academic world. Born in the bustling cityscape of Brunn, Austria-Hungary, now Czech Republic, on April 28, 1906, Gödel's journey into the realms of numbers and logic began at a tender age. His genius was apparent, and the world of academia welcomed him with open arms, anticipating the waves of change his intellect promised. But Gödel's life wasn't just a story of mathematical genius. Amidst equations, theorems, and philosophical musings, there existed a fragile heart, a heart that found companionship in a woman named Adele, whose love transcended the conventional boundaries of society at the time. Their union was frowned upon, a mathematician and a dancer, yet their love bloomed amidst the skepticism, painting a picture of endearing companionship amidst a life otherwise enveloped in rigorous intellectual pursuits. As time progressed, their companionship deepened, becoming a comforting constant in Gödel's life that was otherwise filled with mathematical complexities. However, as the numbers on the pages grew, so did Gödel's paranoia. A fear of the outside world crept in, casting a shadow on the vibrant genius that once soared freely in the boundless sky of logic and mathematics. Among his fears, one stood out glaringly, a fear that revolved around the very essence of life: food. A fear so profound, it led him to trust only one person with the task of feeding him: his beloved Adele. His reliance on Adele wasn't just about sustenance, it was a thread of trust in a world he increasingly saw through a lens of skepticism. This peculiar arrangement worked for Gödel, offering him a semblance of control in a world he felt was slipping into the abyss of uncertainty. But life had a twist in store, a twist that threatened to unravel the delicate fabric of trust and routine Gödel had so meticulously woven around his life. The autumn of 1977 brought with it a chill that seeped into the bones of Princeton, New Jersey. But for Kurt Gödel, the coldness that descended upon his life was not one born out of weather. It was a coldness of reality, a stark, unforgiving reality that bore down upon him with the weight of an unyielding truth. Adele, his beloved wife, his rock amidst the turbulent seas of paranoia, fell ill. The hospitalization of Adele wasn't just a physical separation, it was a breach in Gödel's fortress of safety, leaving him exposed to the icy winds of fear that swept through the corners of his mind. The days rolled into nights, each sun setting with a promise of sustenance, yet the dawn brought with it an empty promise. The fear of being poisoned gripped Gödel with a ferocious tenacity. The mere thought of consuming food prepared by unknown hands sent shivers down his spine. The four walls of his home that once reverberated with the echoes of groundbreaking theories and loving banter now stood silent, a silent witness to the slow, withering demise of a genius mind. As the days turned into weeks, the mirror reflected back a frail figure, a stark contrast to the robust, inquisitive mind that still burned bright behind those weary eyes. His weight plummeted to a mere 65 pounds, a chilling testimony to the grim dance of death that played in the shadows. The routine checks by the doctors painted a bleak picture, yet the grip of paranoia left no room for trust, no room for life-saving morsels that could have brought him back from the precipice of death. The realm of numbers and logic that once provided a refuge now echoed with a haunting question. Why? Why was fate so cruel to snatch away the only tether that held him to the realm of the living? Each tick of the clock was a reminder of the grim reality. a reality that was drawing him closer to an abyss from which there was no return. January 14, 1978, marked the end of a torturous journey. Gödel, found lifeless in his armchair, had succumbed to starvation. His eyes, perhaps once reflecting the complex equations of life, now stared into oblivion, a poignant end to a life that danced on the edge of genius and paranoia. The cold winter morning bore witness to a chilling narrative where love, trust, and an unyielding fear intertwined to script the final chapter of a life.